NBA 2K20's two-way slashing playmaker back for NBA 2K26. Hell yeah.
It's AllCity. Load up that clip.
Hey, what's good, y'all? I'm AllCity as always. Appreciate you guys tuning in. NBA 2K20's two-way slashing playmaker hands down was one of the best builds in 2K history. But if you guys tried to take the stats from NBA 2K20's two-way slashing playmaker build into NBA 2K25, forget about it. You'd probably be one of the biggest bums on the game. One of the main reasons why this build was successful is because 2K allowed so much more. Back then, we didn't have different timings on our jump shot. The green window did not shift. You didn't receive speed ups and slowdowns on your jump shot. Although you may have had a smaller green window, that green window was static, meaning that if you went into the lab and learned the timing on your jump shot, you were able to add that to your muscle memory through repetition. You would be able to hit your shots from 3 consistently enough to be a threat. And that was just enough to get a defender to bite. And if that defender pressed up, forget about it. You blow by and hop step your way into the paint. There was just so much control over your finishing, and 2K let players hit their shots. Back then, 2K was not playing God over shooting. Back then, the game was just super fun. In fact, I hit legend playing daily in the park on a two-way slashing playmaker build. And I played NBA 2K20 every single day from the day of release up until the end of the annual cycle. Fast forward to today, NBA 2K25 looks completely different from the style of gameplay we once had in NBA 2K20. The NBA 2K dev team going away from the blueprint for fun, explosive gameplay. The community has responded to 2K's direction of gameplay, they just don't like it, and 2K insiders are now saying that NBA 2K intends to go back to the blueprint, doing away with shifting green windows, doing away with shot timing variations, doing away with everything that just seems to complicate gameplay. Will 2K finally bring the fun back to 2K games? That's what we finna get into. Let's take a listen to what 2K insider Uncle DEMI has to say about NBA 2K26 gameplay. I'm gonna hit play.
This is where the part comes in where I want everybody to really sit down, turn off any surrounding distractions, and just listen to me. It's intuitive for beginners, but veteran players can dive deeper into creating their perfect build. Y'all remember when I dropped the video about how big builds are coming back, right? All you have to do is look at the previous game and figure out what all the flaws was, what people were complaining about. 2K is a consumer business, right? They need to keep their consumers happy, and too many people were complaining about shooting being too hard. And then they also spoke about how centers were just clunky. They had no value. So when I said...
Let me just pause that real quick, because considering that 2K is a consumer business, why haven't they delivered over the last 5 years? Why is the last time that I have personally experienced unlimited fun was on NBA 2K20? Now, players will complain every single year, no matter how good the game is, but do they stop playing? Do they just quit? How many of you guys, matter of fact, before I continue, how many of you guys like on your friends list see that a lot of your friends just stopped playing NBA 2K25? It wasn't like that in NBA 2K20, but I'll let the video continue on.
Big builds are coming back. It was because I knew there's no way another 2K was gonna come out to with big builds or what they say tall builds weren't gonna be effective. It says, and encourage more build diversity. The builder, okay? The builder is literally only 20% as far as dictating how and where, when, what type of build you're going to make, okay?
Let me pause that real quick, because he just said the builder is only going to be like, making your build initially on set is only about 20% of what you can evolve into. I know 2K mentioned new ways to get cap breakers. I imagine they're going to add additional cap breakers. Maybe some of these cap breakers will be incorporated into the events, new ways to get cap breakers, not just through the season or through your rep. And this further encourages build diversity. And considering that Uncle DEMI just mentioned that upon making your build is only about 20% of what you could actually turn into, or what you could be on the court, I imagine cap breakers are going to play a part in how your player evolves in NBA 2K26. And along with that, NBA 2K might be considering taking the cuffs off, letting players explore and just have fun out there. Let's let this joint continue.
It's going to have solely to do with gameplay. Everybody's going to go to the meta, okay? No matter what game you play, if it's a meta build, if it's the best bang for your buck, you're going to do it. So then the question will be, well, how do you get diversity if people are immediately going to find a meta build and then everybody's going to make that build? Well, duh, just make sure there's a lot of metas that people can make. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right?
Hey, how many of you guys would like to see more meta builds, more options, more build diversity out there, more players of different play styles that can play effectively? Sound off, share your thoughts in the comments. Is that too much? Will too many builds be OP? And what does that mean for defense? Is 2K just going to go back to that offense-oriented mindset? Back in the day, I can't front. 2K's defense was always a step behind the offense. But I will say NBA 2K19 kind of nailed it. It was a good balance between offense and defensive builds. Share your thoughts. I'm curious.
I'm not trying to say it's simple, but we do have a blueprint, okay? NBA 2K20. Very big and high on 2K20.
You know, I've been saying this for the longest time. I'm sorry to cut that off again, but I've been saying this for the longest time. Folks always ask me, you know, does the new installment of 2K have the potential to be great? And I always go back to the idea that we've always had a blueprint. Why 2K refuses to go back to that blueprint, I had no idea. But it looks like they're considering it for NBA 2K26.
Like 19 and 20 were great games. In 20, they really opened it up and allowed a lot of people to be able to make builds that weren't great shooters, but could still, if you had really good stick game, you could shoot, okay? To this day, the best build of all time is the yellow-red two-way slashing playmaker. Because remember, in 19, the sharpshooting playmakers were huge, right? The sharpshooting playmakers.
You know what? I wanted to pause that real quick. You talked about the sharpshooting playmakers, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I'll give you a brief historic rundown of how PGs have evolved. You know, we started out with pure playmakers, and each team had to have that pure playmaker with a sharpshooter, like just a straight up sharpshooter. These sharpshooter builds could not dribble, and pure playmaking builds, they were able to hit threes as soon as they came up off an ankle breaker animation. It was almost like an automatic green. So 2K's builder and what 2K allowed started to evolve. And first came the playmaking sharpshooter, then came the playmaking shot creator, and that evolved to what we have today. We'll let this joint
more
continue
shooting,
on.
a little bit of playmaking, really OP. So to go this direction was different. Man, it only took what? Maybe like 4 days. That build could get contact dunks. That build had Hall of Fame playmaking. It had Hall of Fame defense.
I don't think
it had gold finishing badges. And even though he only had like 8 shooting badges, I can't remember what badges he picked. This man was killing. So again, the reason why that build became great was not because everybody could use it, but if you were really good at the game and you knew how to time your shot and shoot it with a low 3, then you could be great. Let's look at somebody like Annoying. Remember Annoying TV? He was out there with a pure green pie chart using a facilitating sharpshooter, pure green, and was fading, you know, his whole running wagers with a pure green pie chart, right? As a PG, was doing all those fades, those threes, etc. I can go to—
Man, Uncle Demi is taking me down memory lane. How many builds were actually viable, effective, and useful in the older versions of 2K? We definitely need to go back to that for NBA 2K26. Y'all share your thoughts in the comment section below.
On the list, Ticino, right? Ticino went with a yellow-green sharp shot creator. Was able to do all those crazy shot creating shots and that type of deal.
Ticino's creativity was unmatched.
G-Sice made a red-blue paint beast that had like a 50-something 3-ball.
I personally had one of those red-blue paint beasts, and they were just OP and super fun to play on. By the way, back then, we had a baseline as an option to drive. So it's not like these newer versions of 2K where the baseline is so sensitive, you could easily go out of bounds. We had the baseline to drive, and we used to spin dunk all over fools. Let's let it play off.
Right? And sent that build to dominance. It was one of the best center builds in the game in 2K20. It was so fun, right? Because it was skill set and skill. If you had skill at the game, then you could be able to utilize that. What happened?
Skill alone is what created a skill gap in previous versions of 2K. Quoting Swante, 2K is now trying to bring the top players down and the bottom players up. And it's just way too noticeable. And in my opinion, completely unnecessary. 2K needs to definitely stop giving out participation trophies. But
that changed all this, right? 2K was going this direction. It was great. The balance, everybody making builds. What changed it? It was the damn cheaters. So what happened was, if you remember, there was no such thing as different timings on your shot, okay? Remember this. Think back at 2K20. No matter if you were 6 feet from the basket, if you were 50 feet from the basket, the timing was the same. The stamina didn't have anything to do with none of that, right? Then what happened was first it was the original strike pack. The strike pack was able to just green every single time. So what did 2K do? All right, cool. Well, now if your stamina drops a little bit, you know, it's gonna change the shot timing, right? Remember that, right? And then all of a sudden, when the strike pack found out another thing about it, it was like, okay, found a way to circumvent that. Then what happened? 2K was like, all right, cool. So not only if the stamina's gonna do it, we're also gonna change the shot timing based upon how far you are. So if your foot is on the 3-point line, that's gonna be a different speed. But then if you're like 2-3 feet behind that line, that's gonna be a different speed. And then what happened? 2K tried to, the strike packs ended up fixing that, okay? So then 2K, you know, went straight kamikaze style, started moving the green window and all that type stuff. And then what happened? Then they brought out...
He just said 2K went straight kamikaze style for adding shifting green windows and all these other complications to shooting when it used to be just so fun and great back then. And they made all of these changes to shooting, sacrificing the fun for their daily player base. All in an effort to combat the small percentage of cheaters. It don't make no sense.
The Titans, right? Those Titans, and now Titans can do it no matter what. No matter what 2K can do, a Titan will always figure it out, okay? So I just went down a whole list of what changed that from 2K20. Remember, 21, that's when we started getting, everybody had to have, like, the shooting was so hard, you couldn't even make a red-green center anymore because the shooting was that hard. So what I'm getting at is that you have to make, 2K has to get rid of all that dynamic moving timing of your moving of your green window, this and that. If they're talking about getting to build diversity, have diversity in the community, this is what they have to do. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If it is difficult to shoot in NBA 2K26, everybody's gonna run around with the same builds again. The same centers are gonna be in the game because they're gonna get find a center that can shoot and then make it from there, right? Everybody's gonna have the same type of guard builds because again, if it's that difficult, if shooting becomes easier, and the green window stays as the green window. And if the stamina has nothing to do with shot type, basically what 2K saying is, hey, listen, you know what? The small part of this community that's paying for a Titan and all the other software stuff that comes with it, who knows how many they are, but for that little small community of y'all, you know what? Y'all got it. But the 99% of the community, we're gonna focus on y'all now. We're gonna bring it back to 2K20, 2K19 vibes, where you can just shoot. You can do, that's what it's gonna take if you wanna get the build diversity.
I'm in absolute agreement with 2K Insider Uncle Demi, hands down. I'm not personally calling for easier shooting. Make that green window smaller, but leave the joint consistent and stop playing God over shooting. RNG needs to be out the game. My skills on the court from being a veteran 2K player, playing this game for over 25 years should alone set me apart from the competition. 2K has changed gameplay so much that you never know what you're gonna get on any given version of 2K, but
if it doesn't go that direction, and they bring back some of the same stuff they did in 25 as far as how the stamina, the distance, the movement of the green window, and you have to use the right pro stick to shoot and all that, people are just gonna go to find a meta.
I'm in complete agreement with 2K Insider Uncle Demi. Uncle Demi dropping gems and speaking absolute facts. If we want more than 1 or 2 metas per annual cycle, then we need to open up what's allowed in 2K26's gameplay. Players need room to explore, try new builds out, and try new things. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not only shooting that needs to be adjusted for NBA 2K26, because I believe finishing has suffered tremendously over the last few years, especially when you compare it to NBA 2K20's finishing. I'm looking forward to the gameplay that 2K comes up with for NBA 2K26. As we get more information, I'll definitely keep you guys posted here. If any of you guys are new here, consider dropping a like and a sub on your way out. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. If you guys are tired of running with randoms and you're looking for players to run with on NBA 2K, come on out and join the AllCity 2K Discord. The link will be in the description below. Find players and get runs now. Drop a like and drop a sub on your way out. Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Easy, y'all.